Welcome to the channel. In this video, I want to talk about what would happen if I was fired from Ford, if business wasn't going well, it was wintertime, there's no snow. What would happen with all these new truck payments? Would I be looking at the repo man? How would I make payments? What would happen? That's an interesting topic for discussion because actually it has happened before. Not with this truck and not with this truck, but it has happened before when I had the silver truck. If you've been watching the channel for a while, back when I had the silver truck and back when I had the white F-250, I did get fired from Ford, and I had one of the slowest winters I've ever had. It literally didn't snow that entire year, and I was fired from Ford. I had no income coming in for the entire winter, and I had tons of bills. At the time, I had a 2015 F-150. That truck was like $350 a month, and I had my white F-250, and that truck was like $680 a month. And I had my regular bills. My mortgage for my house was due. Every bill was due. My phone was due. I was not doing so good financially. So what ended up happening is I stopped going to work. I couldn't take the pressure no more, whatever. This was back in 2015 or 16, uh, way back then. And I just didn't go into Ford no more. And I had a bunch of snow accounts, but none of the snow accounts were prepaid. They all paid me for per event. And it was all pretty much residential, a little bit of commercial, not a whole lot of commercial, just a little bit. But it was all pretty much residential. And I knew that every time it snowed, I would make a good $1,000. And I was really gambling because in order to make it without Ford, I figured it would be like I needed one snowfall a week or something like that, something crazy, which we don't really get one snowfall a week. But we had so many slow winters that I figured that it was time for us to have a good winter. We were due for a busy winter. So I walked out of Ford. I didn't go back into work, and I'm banking on one snowfall a week. And December hits, no snow for the entire month. I'm looking at the weather. I'm hoping it snows. It won't snow at all. January hits, no snow. November, there was no snow. So I spent all the money that I had set aside just keeping up with bills, and everything fell apart. There was no money left for me to make payments. I had nothing left, and I really had to figure out what to do. So I considered starting up another type of business. I don't know what I was gonna do, but I kind of looked into painting or drywall and things like that. And what I kind of found is, because I got the lawn business started, it really gave me a lot of insight to how hard it is to get started in business in general. It really made me understand that starting up a business is complicated, it's hard, it's a lot harder than it looks. When I started cutting grass, I was a doe-eyed little kid who had no idea what was coming, what to expect, anything like that. And I didn't realize how hard it would be. Now that I know how hard it would be to start a second business doing a different thing that I'm not used to doing, I realized that it would be incredibly difficult for me to start painting or start doing whatever carpentry in order to make ends meet at this point. So I didn't know what to do. I kind of just watched a ton of TV, and I just spent all my money. And it came down to the point, what happened is I spent all my money till I had the last $1,000 in my account, and I had to save that last $1,000 as operating money for business, so that when it did snow, I had enough money to actually go out and do the snow. I had money for gas and employees and whatever. It was brutal. So I couldn't buy anything. It was so terrible and depressing because I'm off work. I got nothing really to do. I got no money, and I literally can't buy anything. Thank God for Donna. She stepped up and helped out. Now, that winter, I think it did snow just enough for me to pay the mortgage, where Donna could have paid the mortgage, but she paid every other bill. And whenever it snowed, I paid my guys and I paid my bills. That's all I really could do. But I had no money. I think I got one snowfall a month that year, and I was banking on it snowing like once every week. Now, what ended up happening also is I ended up having to defer some payments, and I didn't know that I could do this. But as I started to get kind of low on money, I called the creditors that had the loan for the trucks, and I was able to defer the payments, and it wasn't that big a deal. So I know a lot of people that watch the channel and they say, oh, you're going to be broke and out of business, or because you have new vehicles and payments, you should really own everything and not have a payment. Well, when I pretty much had no money, it wasn't that hard to defer the payments a couple of months until spring came or whatever. It's really not the end of the world to just go ahead and defer a payment. If you ever don't have money or fall on hard times. And that was the only time that I ever had to do that. It wasn't that big a deal. Ever since then, I haven't had any issues. So what ended up happening with that year is it continued to be really slow. And then finally, Donna talked to me and she said, you know what? It's time for you to go back to Ford. You've been sitting around the house. You don't have any money. You should go back to Ford. So I went back literally to Ford, and I went into the plant and talked to someone in the union, and somehow they got me my job back, even though I was fired. They got me my job back and told me, pretty much you can start back here at Ford tomorrow. And they figured out how I can start again without losing my seniority. And I pretty much started up again like within a couple days, or if not the next day. Well, once I got back into Ford, guess who came back? Mother Nature. Mother Nature came around and it snowed like every week. Problem is, the conditions of me getting back into Ford meant that I couldn't miss any work for 1 year. And it starts snowing like every other day. So I'm at Ford, I can't miss work, and I can't miss the snow. So it just kept snowing, and I just kept doing the service. So there was days where I didn't sleep because I couldn't miss work at Ford and I didn't want to miss snow. So there was days where I didn't sleep. I just worked 3-4 days straight doing the service. That was a crazy time in my life where, that February, I think I went back and it snowed every week. I was at Ford every week and I just barely made it. I don't know if I made the right choice, if it would have been better for me to stay out of Ford, because spring was right around the corner and I would have been okay in the spring. But I ended up going back and I've been back there ever since. But anyway, that is what happened. I was out of work. I had no money. And somehow it all worked out. I made just enough money that winter just to pay whatever bills. And then when I finally did get back to Ford and the lawn season and everything kicked off, it didn't take long for me to get back on my feet. It probably took a month or so, and then boom, I was back, totally caught up with everything, if not better. It's kind of a good thing in hindsight, because ever since that happened, all of my finances have been way better. And it really was a good thing, even though it was not good in the moment. But anyway, that is what would happen now I'm a lot better in business, where if I lost just Ford, I would be a lot better off. But at the time, Ford was a big piece of my income. But anyway, I think I could get by without Ford. Comment below if you ever had any problems like this. Thank you for watching. Hope to hear from you soon, and have a great day. Bye.